It's time to do a vlog about a juggling trick which has been with me for many, many, many years, even though I've not been the one juggling it. It's a trick by Anthony Gatto, and I'm going to do a full vlog on one trick, because if you can't talk about a trick for at least 25 minutes, it means that you're not nerdy enough about juggling. This hopefully isn't going to be a 25-minute video though, but that's a quote that I think I did about, was it the 4-ball cascade vlog that we did, Juliana?
Yes,
I can't remember.
yes.
So the trick that I want to be talking about is the classic Anthony Gatto 5-ring juggling with a pole balance. Catches the rings onto the pole as he's juggling them, and then he gets a ball, throws a ball up, and then he gets a ring and throws it on top of the ring. It's a classic trick, and I'm going to learn it. In fact, I have been learning it. Maybe right here in the vlog you'll see some montage of me trying out different versions in the past. The reason I'm learning this trick is because I was blown away by this trick when I saw Anthony Gatto do it live back in 2000. He did a version at the British Juggling Convention in 2000. I saw it. It was a life-changing show. I think I've talked about that in other vlogs, how seeing Anthony Gatto and other jugglers perform there was like, hey, that's what I want to do. And I've gone on to become a professional juggler. So a life-changing trick and performance in a way. But then years later, maybe 8 years later, I began doing a workshop that I've done many times over the years called The Performance of Juggling, where I'd contrast Anthony Gatto's routine and then Willie Colombioni. Is it Colombioni? Have I got that?
Colombioni.
Colombioni. Two of them did a very similar act, mostly because Willie was copying as much as he could from Anthony Gatto's act. All credit to him. If you're a good enough juggler to be able to do that, that's great. He did a version of Anthony Gatto's trick which mixed Anthony Gatto's trick where he does 5 balls and catches them in different nets, and also the rings where he does the rings and then throws a big ball at the end. And he combined them but did it with clubs. It's very, very impressive, but looks really, really bad. It's like he completely misunderstood what makes a trick a good trick. And I always had fun comparing and contrasting these two tricks. In fact, at one point I showed that if you actually get Anthony Gatto, both of his versions of the trick with the balls and then with the rings, put them back to back, and then Willie Colombioni's trick lasts longer than both of those tricks together. And when you're doing a trick like this, what you're really showing is full mastery, full control, that it's like magical how well you can throw things, and you're not even catching them within your hands anymore. You're catching them with these small things, you know, like this hook and this. And what Willie did is, instead of making it look like he's got ultimate control over the props, he's catching these clubs in these big funnels, and they kind of flop around and sort of slot down in. And then at the end, he gets a very small ball with a very big, like, funnel frame thing, and throws a small ball into a big thing to catch it. Whereas Anthony Gatto does it the other way around. He has a large ball and throws it and catches on a small thing, so it's catching on it rather than in it. So anyway, I was always comparing these two tricks, these two versions of the tricks in this workshop. Had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, it's really getting around, like, what is the essence of a trick? Like, what is the, like, why are you doing a trick? And in this case, Willie thought, I have to do a trick like Anthony Gatto does, but he did it with balls and rings, so I'm going to do it with clubs. And that's pretty much all the thought he seemed to have put into it. Whereas the real thing that you're meant to be communicating with a trick is, I am a master of gravity. I am a master air traffic controller. Anthony Gatto gets that across perfectly with his trick. Willie Colombioni doesn't. Years later, after I first started doing that workshop and comparing these tricks, I realized that nobody is doing a good enough version of Anthony Gatto's trick anymore. There's a few people who have learnt similar versions or like other variations. In fact, with the ball one, Anthony Gatto gave his prop to another juggler, and now another juggler performs Anthony Gatto's balls into the pockets trick with his own props, you know, with Anthony Gatto's actual original props that he performed with. There is another juggler, Anderson De Silva. He does it's not a version of that trick. He has a prop that looks the same, but he actually just throws individual rings up onto the hook and then throws a ball up. And actually, I don't mind him just throwing a ball up and then not throwing the Saturn ring up to the top to make that iconic image, because his act kind of builds up in a different way. It's like 1 ring, 2 ring, 3 ring. It's like a different, what he's communicating with the trick is a different thing. It's not about doing something as quickly and as smoothly as possible. It's more of a building 1 and then building 2, and it's a different kind of thing. So I don't mind that he doesn't do the ring up, but it's kind of annoying that he's using a prop which looks very much like Anthony Gatto's prop, but it's not quite the right thing. So now it's time for me to do it. Any questions, Juliana?
Nope.
Okay, so let's go back through the history of some of this stuff. Yeah, let's go back to this one here. What I like about the original trick is that it's a self-contained prop. He gets everything at the start of the trick, and he starts juggling, and he finishes it, and he walks away, and he doesn't need any help. So it starts, and it finishes all under his own steam, which is very important for me because when I perform this, I can't rely on somebody coming out and giving me the props halfway through. It's also very easy to follow. He juggles 5 rings, and he throws one up and catches it, juggles 4 rings for a while, throws one up, catches it, juggles 3 rings for a while, and then 3, 2, 1. And I really like the storytelling of that. Also, I really like 2 levels of the catches. So he juggles them, and some of them go up to the nose of Wile E. Coyote, and the last one is a surprise. It's sort of like, you thought the 5th one would go there. Actually, it's going to go somewhere different, and it lands on the hand. And I really like that surprise reveal. There's another place to catch the ring. What I don't like about this early version is that I think the obvious place for Wile E. Coyote to catch the rings is on the hand, and then the last one can go to the nose. That's how I would have designed the trick. Anthony Gatto didn't do that, but then again, he's 13-year-old when he's performing this, or 8 years old.
He probably didn't come up with a trick.
Well, no, in my head, Anthony Gatto never invented this. This is Nick Gatto, or probably Dick Franco came up with this, and like Dick Franco's like, hey, you're a good juggler, you're like 9 years old, or whatever, 6 years old, 7 years old, you could probably learn this. So that's where I think the trick probably came from. What I don't like is that the first 4 rings go high, and then the last ring goes low. I think it should be the other way around. 4 rings low, and then the last one higher up. Also, it's a really messy looking pole. This is a Wile E. Coyote puppet. He has other versions with puppets. There's another one with Olympic rings. It's kind of messy, and he's throwing the rings onto it. I don't really like it. It's like there's too much personality in the pole that he's juggling there, that he's using. What's the last thing that I don't like? Oh yeah, it's also bulky, and if I'm traveling around, I can't have like a massive Wile E. Coyote thing or like an Olympic rings thing which is like set out really wide. It just looks a bit big. Then let's go over to the later version. What I really like about the later version is the ball on the ring at the end, that Saturn ring look. It's super great. It's super iconic. I also like that the balance pole is actually quite utilitarian looking. It's just a pole. It looks quite, like I say, utilitarian. It's not decorated anymore. And it's actually when the objects land on it, make it like it. That's the decoration. The rings that you catch on it are the most colourful things, rather than them being already a set of 5 Olympic rings or a Wile E. Coyote stuffed toy on it already. Another thing that I like about it is actually the speed of the catches. He juggles and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's sort of like, wow, that's really quick. It shows a lot of mastery. What I don't like about his Anthony Gatto's later version of the trick is that it requires an assistant. Like he starts it, someone passes him the pole, he does some juggling, puts his hand out, somebody gives him something else, throws it, hand out. It's sort of like there's a lot of stagecraft going on there. And again, like I say, I can't do that. And also, I think the top of the pole here looks kind of incomplete. Like it's there, he's juggling, and he catches the first 5 here. And I always think, what's this? It feels empty. It feels like a radar dish which isn't full. The previous version where he has like a colander on top looks even worse. There's another one with a funnel. I always think it feels incomplete before he actually gets to it. Any questions, Juliana?
No.
All right, my version of it, which to be honest, maybe you'll see right now edited in here, me going off to the catapult this afternoon and getting a good version of this trick on video. I've done it a few times, but I don't have like a really clean version on video. Hopefully I'll get that today. So from a performance viewpoint, I start and it's self-contained, no assistance needed. I just, like I'm there with everything in my hand. It's a utilitarian balance pole. I just mentioned that before. The version that I'm going to do is the ball is thrown and caught first. And there's a few reasons for that, but first of all, it completes it. So actually, you do the balance, and like now it's like the balance pole is complete. Then also, somehow the ball throwing up can kind of upstage. It can upstage the final trick. Anthony Gatto gets out the way really quickly, whereas Willie, it's sort of like he does the clubs, and that's really impressive. And then he gets a ball and throws it up. Then I was like, the stuff that you did earlier looks more difficult. The clubs in the funnels look more difficult. Maybe the rings here look more difficult. So I think throwing this up here first kind of gets that out of the way. Also, the ball is caught on the frame rather than in it. That's very important. I'm going to do it with the 4 rings quite slow. So you do 5, throw the ring up, catch it, into 4 rings. rings for a bit, throw it up, catch it. I like the timing of early Anthony Gatto. So 13-year-old Anthony Gatto, I like the timing of the trick a bit better. There's 2 levels of catching. First 4 rings here, ring number 5 up there, and also the 2 levels go in the right direction. They go up. So the first one low and the 5th ball on top.
The 5th ring.
The 5th, so the 5th ring on top, and also we still get this great iconic look with this, with the Saturn ring. I'm going to uninflate the ball a bit so it sits down a bit there. But yes, this is iconic, and I think the iconic moment is really important. And what I mean by iconic is see an image, and then close your eyes, and then it should be perfect in silhouette and recognizable in silhouette, and also aesthetically pleasing. This is Anderson de Silva. He's got his hand up. He's actually doing a copy of one of Michael Jackson's iconic poses that he would do. Anthony Gatto, he's doing like this. It's all balanced. It looks good. Another one, just the moment of him pointing up and holding the ring ready to throw, is also iconic with the ring and the ball on top. Willie Colombioni, here he's doing some rock show, so his hands are up. It's not looking good. And then, this just isn't iconic. It's like he's pointing up, but the clubs are in these funnels. You're like, what even is that shape? There's a small ball in a big thing, and one of the clubs is the wrong way around. Iconic. It needs to be instantly recognizable and aesthetically pleasing in silhouette. From an equipment thing, this is light and strong. I'm using all of the knowledge from my magnet machine build, right, with working with machined aluminium. So I'm very happy with this. It comes apart and no section is more than 45 centimeters across. This folds down. It's not complete. It's not the final version, but so far it's really good. The hook design, the first hook design that I did, I actually copied Anderson de Silva's thing, which is more of just like a hook that goes off at a single angle. Turns out that's really easy to catch with one ring, but when you're juggling rings, that's actually more difficult, because what happens is the ring comes up, and if it just goes onto something and then slides down, how far it falls after it goes onto the hook is actually putting a lot of force into it. This one, it comes up and it just catches. It doesn't need to go down very far. The other thing that I had issues with was the original rings I was trying it with were my rings, which I've been juggling with for 18 years? No, almost 20 years now. These are prototype beard rings, and they're much thicker. They're actually much chunkier than a normal ring. Like if I get you probably can't even see it because it's too thin, but there's definitely a different thickness. Can you see that? I'm not even sure. But these were actually too heavy. One ring's not so bad, but when you actually get 5 rings here, it's noticeably heavy catching these rings and keeping the balance on my chin. I think what I'm going to do actually for the future is buy myself just a set of normal thickness rings, white rings, make them into color changing rings, and then just kind of relearn my routine, my normal ring routine with thinner, normal thickness rings, just to make it easier maybe on my hands. I don't know. I've not done that because I got these thicker rings literally 20 years ago and haven't juggled other rings since then. Oh, another reason why I'm using a chin balance like this is that I thought I'm going to be throwing lots of rings at my face. It doesn't look like I'm throwing the rings, but if I did the balance here and any mistakes, they're all coming down, and this pole just it kind of focuses them into my face, as it comes if I'm making mistakes. I thought if I do it on my chin and I make mistakes, they're being focused not into my face. And I tell you something, that made it a lot more pleasant to practice this trick. So I put a lot of practice in this trick, and I've not hit myself in the face that often. Just a few discoveries that I made, which will make it that the version I'm doing is more difficult than the version that Anthony Gatto is. First of all, his ball is like a hard shell ball. It's not inflated. Maybe I'll put an image of it here. It's actually quite a solid ball, and it doesn't bounce. This one is really bouncy. This is just one of my ball spinning balls, overinflated to be the right size. And so actually when I'm catching it here, it bounces a lot, and his ball looks like it just slots in place. It's also sticky, so when I do it here and then I catch a ring on top, if it doesn't go perfectly, the ring bounces off and it kind of sticks in the wrong place, and I think a smoother ball. But I'm really, really struggling finding a correct size ball with the right materials and all the right properties. Anthony Gatto would do long engagements with a single circuit, so he could find a perfect ball and then not have to travel with it. It's just ready to go there. I need to be able to have a ball which does inflate, but it can inflate to the right size with the right consistency. And also his final the ring that he throws up onto it isn't a normal juggling ring. He could make that ring the perfect shape and size to fit on the ball and to be like really chunky and look really good and be the right flashiness. I can't do that. The version I'm doing, I have to throw a normal ring onto a not optimal ball, and Anthony Gatto could throw a specially designed ring onto the optimal ball, and I don't have that luxury with the version of the trick that I want to do, because I want to do it and finish with the surprising final thing, actually be a surprise, not like, oh, someone's coming out and giving you something special. I want it to be like that last ring, point, flick it up, catch it on top. Oh, for performance, I just want to say, I really want to find a clear ball, because I think that moment when the lighting changes and the spotlight comes through it and it glows, that is the iconic moment, really, that he points up, it goes there, the lighting change. I want to be able to capture that, and I can't do that with literally the balls that I use for ball spinning, overinflated ball spinning balls that I use. Any questions, Juliana?
Where does Anthony Gatto balance the pole on his face?
He does it on his forehead.
On the forehead.
He does it on his forehead. In the future, maybe I'll do a forehead balance thing. Like I have that with other things, like when I'm doing the Brun finish, where I go like this and I put it on there. Like this. So I'd need something a bit like this. I might learn it like that in the future, but at the moment I'm happy with the chin, just because like rings falling towards my face. I got to get way better at this trick before I learn it forehead. I think I would like to learn it forehead because it looks more iconic, it looks stronger. But for learning purposes, the chin is where it's going.
Cool.
Anything else?
No, I want to see you do the trick.
Kristen, to answer any questions, yes, it's a very, very, very difficult trick to do. I've put in, dozens and dozens of hours into it since the end of last year. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want an alternate ending to my ring act. At the moment, I do 7 rings in the show, and this takes up about the same amount of space as 7 rings, but I would like an alternate version, or maybe I'll put this in a different routine, or build a different juggling act around this. I'm not quite sure, but like learning the Francis Brun combination trick finish, that took many, many months. It took about 8 months to learn the skills, and then maybe another 8 months to be able to get it good enough to do it on stage. This for me is like a quarantine project, like the magnet machine. It's something I can develop now and in the future hopefully perform on stage. So yeah, there's some classic jugglers. Anthony Gatto is one of the best. Francis Brun is one of the best. And it's really interesting to learn a trick, a classic, iconic trick of both of theirs, and compare and contrast. Maybe I'll do another vlog on that in the future. Oh no, I already did one. I did one, Copy the Masters. I've already done a vlog all about that, so go and check that out. I think that's it, Juliana.
I think so too.
All right, thanks for watching this vlog, and we'll catch you next time.